everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of Unemployed Pinoy CEO. I'm your host, Francis San Diego. Today is another exciting episode because we have invited two guests. We'll start off with my guest co host. Let's again welcome her, Mrs. Joy Ortiz Timbol. Hi, Joy.
Hi, Francis. Hello, everyone.
Hi, it's good to be back, huh, Joy? So we're like really,
Yes.
we're really thankful to have you again here. So yeah, let's go cut to the chase and welcome our guest. So maybe you will do the honors, Joy.
Okay. We have a guest today, and she's the owner of Dovetail Social. She pursued her career as a pastry chef because she loved sharing her Filipino heritage in Australia through her gluten-free bake creations. Let's all give a warm welcome to a very beautiful friend of mine, Mrs. Rejoice Guevara Thomson. Hi, Reg.
Hello, Reg.
Hi, Joy. Hi, Francis. And to everyone who's listening right now.
Hi, thank you, welcome. Oh, maybe we can start off right now. Joy, maybe you can start do the honors of since we'll start off with the ladies first in doing the introduction and interviewing Mrs. Rejoice uh, Guevara
Yes,
Thompson. There we go.
yes.
Okay.
Yes, Reg, thank you for guesting in our podcast. And we are very excited to get to know you more, especially to our viewers. You know that we're good friends for a long time. So maybe you can share your journey to our viewers regarding your business in Australia.
It has been quite a journey.
Mhm.
So I'm Rejoice, and I'm the owner and pastry chef of Dovetail Social here in Brisbane, Australia. We have two branches in Oman Park and in Highgate Hill. We opened our first branch in 2014, Dovetail and Overend, in Norman Park. And it was more like a hole in the wall concept, really focused on specialty coffee. When we opened our cafe, we made sure that we are going to serve gluten-free um, meals, but not charge extra like what other cafes have been doing. And the reason behind that, it's because my husband has celiac disease and he needs to be on a gluten-free diet. So we want to look after the celiac community. So we've decided that our cafe is going to be celiac friendly. So for those who don't know what gluten-free means, that means, or what celiac disease is, there is no treatment for that. It's an anti-inflammatory condition, and the only way you can actually continue being healthy is to be on a gluten-free diet. That means no wheat, rye, barley. So there. This was not my profession before. I came to Australia in 2007. I worked in pharmaceutical back in the Philippines for 7 years. When I came to Australia, I tried to um, apply for a similar role here, but the challenge of not having local experience is the same story as any immigrant who goes here. And
Exactly.
then I met my husband shortly after that, and we got married. And my husband happened to be gluten free. So I started learning how to cook and bake. That's because, I wanted him to taste Filipino food and enjoy what I eat. So it all started from there.
So you mentioned about you. We'll go back to your first experience, like as in the Philippines, because also me, I used to work in the pharmaceutical company as well. Which company did you
Oh,
work, if you
really?
may? Yeah, which company did you work for
Merck,
before?
Sharp and Dome.
Merck. Okay. So I don't know if you know this, but 2007 I was also here. I also started my journey here. Then I used to work in Dovetail, Philippines before. It's like a distributor of pharmaceutical companies. So that's interesting. So now, when you said that you started your how long have you worked as in the pharmaceutical industry in the Philippines, though?
7.
Oh, 7 years.
7 years.
Then you just decided to go over here in the Australia, correct?
Yeah, I felt a bit burnt out. So I started in sales and then I joined marketing. So I became a specialist and I also was involved with the bone and joint team. So it was more like part continuing medical education and patient care programs. So it just came to a point wherein yeah, I was just burnt out and I just decided to take a career break. And my dad's sisters, they happened to live here.
Oh.
So that's why I decided to go on a holiday first.
Mm-hmm.
But I really love Australia. Even during my first visit two, in 1999, I believe was my first visit.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew that I really wanted to stay here.
Okay, Reg, I know you were awarded last October for the multicultural business entrepreneurship. Is that right?
So I was awarded the Lord Mayor Multicultural Entrepreneur of the Year
Yes.
award in Brisbane.
Nice. Oh, that's
So there were a
congrats.
So
lot
can
of
you?
applic- there were a lot of applicants, and then I was shortlisted. I
Wow.
went into a panel interview, and then yeah, I got an email that I was one of the finalists. So there were 8 finalists that night across all the industries here in Brisbane.
Oh, Brisbane. Okay.
Wow,
Oh,
that's great. How does it feel to have bagged such a prestigious prize? When you won the award, how does it feel for you?
Oh, of course, I had to pinch myself that it was really me
sir.
who won
Oh, yeah, yeah.
because I did not know who the other contenders were. It was only that night when I found out who they are because they are in the souvenir program. And when I saw them, I said, oh my goodness, I don't stand a chance among them. But this year, the the focus of the award is how your business thrive during COVID and how you use your creativity and ingenuity as well as being a multicultural person to actually thrive even during the pandemic.
Nice.
So my story must have you know made an impact
Mm-hmm.
on the judges,
Mm-hmm.
and that's probably the reason why I was declared the winner this year. So this is the first time that a Filipino was nominated and obviously won the award in the last 15 years.
Nice. And I would like to say congratulations on that regard. Yeah,
Yes,
definitely you have a
yes.
very, very interesting story that you've shared. Then yeah, we'll touch up on that one shortly. So yeah, like what Joy mentioned, about winning that award. So when you started the your journey in the pastry or in the culinary industry, because also me, believe it or not, I'm also in the culinary industry on my earlier years. It's like so surreal when I found that story of yours, because in the Philippines
Wow.
also, yes, it's like really wow, this is something interesting, because Joy mentioned to me that, hey Francis, Rejoice or Reg is she used to work in the pharma industry, and when she came to Australia, she also was into culinary. Me, I also from the what do you call this, a pharma industry, then to turn into a chef. But me, I do the cooking, the cooking part, not the pastry, not the baking part. So because I like doing the savory dishes where you just put in all the ingredients and just cook it. So that's an interesting story. So now, for that part, it's interesting to see that with your story, you did it as a necessity because you saw the need and you wanted, because with your husband, which is Adam, correct? Mr. Adam Thomson is celiac, has a celiac disease, which is like it's to be honest, I don't really, I haven't heard the disease yet until until I saw it in your story. So it got me curious. Then I found out that you took it upon yourself to serve your husband, which is, by the way, it's like really inspirational because as a loving wife, you
Yes.
really make sure that you take care of your husband through your own serving, right? So when you started that journey, what was the process like? Because definitely in the Philippines, you're like this executive, right? Or you have a higher tier. Then you went to a different and then migrated in a different country. Then all Filipinos or all immigrants in general will experience that, right? We are in a manager in our
Yes.
own country. Then we came, he will go back again, back to the drawing board. Okay, what was the process like
Okay.
for you, Reg? Maybe you can share to us your process.
Yeah, so I tried looking for a similar role while I was here in Australia, and it always came down to me and the other person and him having a local experience, so they get the job more than me. And so I said to myself, that's it. That was like 3 months of of going through that process of interview, and I said probably pharmaceutical is no longer for me. And then just shortly after that, I fell pregnant, and I had a very challenging time while pregnant. And then I got called again. Called. I had a call back saying they want to hire me, but I was just very sick at that time.
Yes.
So it was not meant to
Not
be.
meant to be, correct.
And yes, and I became just a stay-at-home mom. I really wanted to look after my daughter for the first, 2 years and just enjoy being a mom. And while I was at home, I started, cooking and baking, and I found that it was so easy for me to follow a recipe. And yeah, and then one night, it was one winter night, I decided to make an apple pie for my husband, and I served it to him. And I went back to the kitchen, and when I came back to see him, he was actually in tears, really teary eyed.
Yeah.
And I said, what's wrong? I thought, there was an emergency or something like that, but he said that he's never had apple pie for so many years.
Wow.
And from and in that moment I knew that if I was going to cook, it has to be gluten free. So that's where it really started for me, and that's just because how I saw um, how that brought so much joy to my husband.
Yes.
And then I became a demonstrator chef for Kenwood. My boss gave me a free hand of whatever I would like to cook and bake, and that became my playground. So I was testing recipes, and I did that for I think nearly 4 years before you know, and then we opened Dovetail and Overend in Norman Park in 2014.
Well,
So yes, so
yeah.
that's how it all happened for me with learning how to cook and bake. And then 2 years later, after that, 2016, I decided to enroll myself in a patisserie course, and I did that for 1 year.
Oh, so you have like a what associate's degree or something like that?
Yeah, so I have a certificate course,
Mm-hmm.
patisserie 4. Yeah, so yeah, to become really a pastry chef. So I did that while working in my cafe and looking after my daughter.
Wow,
It
that's
was such a
remarkable.
difficult time too, because I remember I have to drop my daughter to school and then jump on the bus to catch, my class by 8:30 in the morning, and then finish at
Stressful.
6 o'clock in the evening. And I was just so tired, and I did that for 1 year. And they don't really teach gluten free in school. You probably learn two recipes there. But the important thing, I've learned how things are done commercially, the techniques in baking.
Mm.
But actually, right now, I'm doing more of the cooking in the kitchen,
Mm-hmm.
rather than just pastry. So I've become
Oh,
really more like a kitchen chef
yes,
now.
yes. That
So
well, you're the
it's
owner,
pretty much
so
pretty much
Yeah.
self-taught on that part.
Wow. Reg, Adam is so lucky to have you.
that's great.
You
Yes.
know that, right? How about Reg? What's your signature dish in Dovetail? What's your specialty?
A specialty, well, I think that's part of also why I won the award, because I tapped into my culture and I've decided to introduce Filipino-inspired dishes
Like fusion, yeah.
in our menu, and
Infusing.
as well as in our pastry. So doing that opened opportunities for our cafe, and it was received very well, not only by Filipinos but also by Australians.
Nice.
So I think that is actually the unique selling point of our cafe,
Mm-hmm.
um, because of it's it's not just mainstream cafe.
Mm-hmm.
It involves just Filipino inspired
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
dishes and desserts, as well as it's gluten free.
Yes, I saw also in your one of your photos that you have like you've been doing like one of the flavors, Filipino flavors,
The
ube,
ube.
ube, right?
Yeah, the ube, Reg.
Yeah. So the ube is such a colorful dessert.
Yes.
Very,
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah, it's such a vibrant color
Mm-hmm.
that people gets attracted to it.
Correct.
And
Intrigued, right?
that's actually where I started. Yeah. So I introduced that in my donuts, and then I came out with my cakes. So our signature donut is the ube purple yam pavlova donut. So that's a Dovetail signature donut. And
Wow.
I did that during the Australia Friendship Day back
Mm-hmm.
in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
I decided to marry two cultures in a dessert. So the ube being Filipino and the pavlova being Australian. And
Wow.
Wow.
then it was
Pablo.
followed by another, which is the Yamington. So, Australia love their lamington.
Mm-hmm.
So I did a purple yam. I called it
Yes.
Yamington.
Oh.
Um, just for it to sound cute. And then the donut has a
Something new to the
leche flan
public.
in the center.
Correct, correct. That's great. That's great to hear. I'm really excited about it, and at the same time, I'm getting hungrier now. So
Yeah.
after hearing about it, so anyway, Reg, yeah, definitely. I'm really so now knowing your profession. Definitely you have patience because I know for a fact that being a pastry chef takes a lot of patience because you have to follow the recipe. You can't go over like let's say that comparing to a savory chef where you just put in all the ingredients without measuring it. The pastry chef being a pastry chef is really hard for me because you have to read the recipe, follow it, or else you're gonna waste it. For sure, they're gonna have a lot
Yeah,
of burn.
baking is totally different. It's
Yes,
like you
I
need to be
agree.
with your measurements.
Correct, correct.
The thing is, most of my recipes I have to experiment on them
Yeah, considering
because
that one as well, that you're experimenting.
it's gluten.
Correct, correct.
Yeah, so
So,
it's gluten free. So there's so many recipes. Like one in particular, I think the most difficult thing I did was the scrolls, or
mhm.
in America you call it cinnamon rolls.
Yes,
Here we call it
So,
scrolls.
scrolls.
Yes, yes.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Sounds.
it took me 3 months. It took me 3 months to actually get the texture right.
Oh, really? That's really
Yeah.
a remarkable feat for
Delicious.
you because
So
That's my favorite.
so so many of them went in the bin, you know, and some are so
you know what the
rough,
fun you
hard
should have
that you
taken
can actually
some.
kill a
You,
person if you throw it at them.
yeah, yeah, I know. You should have taken some videos of it or like journaled it. That'll be is interesting stuff to share to the
Yes,
public,
topics.
right?
Yeah.
That'll be
Yeah,
something.
I know, yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's really hard.
I'll probably share that. I'm thinking that my a dream of mine is to actually come up with my own recipe book and a
Yes,
memoir. So
yes.
I will share all these
Oh,
you
definitely.
know yeah, all these stories of mine while I was creating all these.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that was really the challenge. How do you make a gluten-free version of these desserts
Correct.
and dishes?
Yeah, because earlier years it's not that really available, right? You're just it's like a
Yeah.
specialty item. Now that since you are one of the few chefs who like really did that part where it's like gluten-free products, it's like more and more people are inclined to try it, especially now you're creating awareness about it. Hey, if you have the celiac, right? I pronounce it correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Celiac condition that you can, and it's available. The gluten free products are available nowadays. Unlike before, it's like, hey,
Oh, yeah.
gluten free. What is gluten free? Nobody knows,
Yeah.
and you are that's why no wonder or not I'm not even surprised that you won those awards or recognition because of that feat that you did. You solved the problem and you made it available to the public, which I know for a fact that you have a lot of followers that are like really appreciative of what you did, right? So yeah, I
Yeah.
would like
Oh,
to thank you. Yeah,
yeah,
really.
because I experience it firsthand with my family when we go out and I see my husband and my daughter getting sick after eating in a restaurant.
Oh,
Even if they say that on the menu that it's gluten free, but then that means they don't have the right process
correct, correct.
in the kitchen. So, for example, frying in the same fryer. So you can't fry anything for gluten free if you fry everything else there that has wheat. So just those, we it has to be really a strict process when you are dealing with gluten free and celiac customers, and we have that in our cafe. So we have like a dedicated space
Mm-hmm.
just to prepare that food.
Yes,
Um, so even like our baking room, it's just 100% gluten-free baking.
correct,
So that means there is no cross contamination whatsoever.
correct.
And
That-
then of course we really train our staff on that. So pretty much our meals are gluten-free by default, except for our bread. And then we just easily swap that with no extra cost if you tell us you're celiac or you're gluten-free.
That's really
Wow.
interesting. That's really interesting because I'm not like really now knowing from you about the process, right? Gluten free is like really a delicate part. I think you will also compare it to like the halal meats process, right? The halal or something like that. So it's really interesting to know from you, actually, I know gluten-free, but I don't like really pay attention to it because, I mean, I'm ignorant. I'll say that because, now that I know that, I really wanted to thank you for giving me that knowledge for that. Maybe you could start your own cooking show, or like maybe like,
Yes,
Rachel Ray, or we can have you featured in one of the, Food Network, right? Joy?
yeah, yes. Why not?
So go ahead. Okay, Joy, go ahead.
Reg, where did you get your skill? What do you think? Did you get it from your dad or from your mom? Can you share us?
Here's the thing. I grew up with good food around me. So my grandma was a great cook. My dad was a great cook. My mom cooks really well as well. So I think I'm surrounded by great cooks in my family. So my palate has always been used to good food, and we love eating out. We also love cooking
Mhm.
at home.
That's really great.
Yeah, so all of you are foodies.
Foodies is
Yes,
that?
and remember, I was a med rep before.
Yes.
And then I became a specialist and part CME.
Hmm.
So whenever I travel in everywhere in the Philippines, people will take us all to the really great places to eat.
Correct.
No matter if it looks like just a shanty or it's just a house,
Mm-hmm.
or my dad would even take me to Binondo, and we would be
Oh,
eating
yes.
like home style near the river with all the cargadores and everything. But
Yes,
you get the best goto there or things
I
like
know.
that. So my
Yeah.
palate is so used to good, just really good food.
Yeah, that's nice. So,
Wow.
go ahead, Joy.
Yeah. Okay. What? Ano ba bang question? Pwede ba personal, Reg? Can I ask you personal? Walang iyakan to, ha? Because, Reg, yung dad kasi niya, passed away already. And I know
Oh,
that
sorry.
si Reg is a daddy's little girl.
Mm-mm.
So, my question now, Reg, if you want to answer, let's say your dad is still alive and he's watching you right now, and he can see you that you are a very successful business entrepreneur. So, what can you say about him, or to, what can you tell him? Can you tell something about your success like that? Can you share it to our viewers?
Before my dad passed away, he was meant to come here so that he could see our first cafe. So he was never able to see that, but he saw it on our, whenever we chat, and he used to question, "Oh, is it really good?"
Mm,
And then I would
Mhm.
show him reviews and
mhm.
all that, and I know that he was very proud of me,
Yes.
and I know that he could see me, and he would be even more proud of what I have accomplished, because it was always his dream
Mhm.
to have
Mhm.
a restaurant here in Australia,
Yeah.
and I've made that happen.
Oh,
So
that's
I just
Wow.
wish that he was here to see that, but I know he he's he's up there, and
yes, for
yeah.
sure.
Proud
That,
of you.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, yeah. I mean, definitely. Your father is like really proud of you, and for who you became. Like, yeah, you evolved into a really loving wife, daughter, and mom, right? So, yeah, maybe on the brighter side, let's talk about this, Reg. Maybe who is Reg as a mom and as a wife? Maybe you can share us to some lighter side of you. What do you do with your family, though? What do you do? Any activities outside of your work?
Yeah, okay. So I, we're my husband and I, we both work in our business.
Mm-hmm.
So we're very, very busy.
Oh,
So
okay.
now that we have the two cafes, I look after the newer branch because it's a bigger space, and I'm more of the chef and the cook, and he looks after our original location. But we love movies. We're such sucker for movies. In fact, yesterday we
Netflix.
watched Eternals. Yeah, Eternals. Me, my husband, and my daughter.
Oh my
So
gosh.
yeah, so we love watching movies all the time. So you'll see us coop
Uh-huh.
up in the lounge, and just watch a movie. Or
Oh.
you'll see us in a restaurant just enjoying food. That's the thing. I think I've carried it with me.
Mm-hmm.
We love eating out,
Yes.
and then Monday is our day off. So my husband and I, we make sure that we start our day with our coffee. So
Correct.
we would visit different cafes after this day
Oh,
and
that's
support
great.
other local cafes as well. We love doing bushwalks every now and then. And then we plan short trips, overnight trips in the mountains or near the beach. So just whenever
Wow.
we can.
Yeah.
Nice, nice. That's good to hear. That's good to hear. So, how old is your daughter, Bella?
Daughter, yeah. Ella.
Yeah, she's 10.
Wow,
She
oh,
pretty
nice.
much grew up in the cafe.
Oh my, she's
So
a
she has seen she has
future entrepreneur chef, right?
Yes.
so she has seen how hard her parents work,
Yes,
and
yes.
she knows that she's
True.
going to start working too.
Nice. Oh, that's
True.
really
That's
great.
nice.
So, Joy, go ahead.
Okay, last question na ba,
Oh, yeah,
Francis?
go. Yeah, sure. Definitely.
Okay, Reg, what can you share to our viewers or listeners about your journey in business? Can you share something to them? What makes
Teka.
you become a successful? What's the secret on how to become a successful entrepreneur like you?
Um, I think that um, even up to this day, I make sure that we continue to improve and innovate, especially in hospitality industry.
Correct.
It's so competitive. You need to be always on your toes, create new things, make things more interesting. So there's always room for improvement. And
Yeah,
if if you plan on setting up your own business one day, like a cafe and restaurant, I suggest that you test your dream. If the dream is if this dream is really meant for you. It's a lot of hard work. I'm not going to sugarcoat that. You know, even if we like my husband, he also decided to do like an OJT, on job training. Being an employee is very different from being an owner or a chef working for somebody else. It's an entirely different thing when you have to look after your business, look after your people. So passion definitely. You need to be passionate in what you do, but it's the kind of passion wherein you can't sleep. That's the kind of passion. If
Correct.
you have that kind of passion, that's the kind of passion that would really um, move you forward despite so many challenges, because you are going to face a lot of that. And if, for example, you are working in a different industry right now and you keep dreaming of having your own cafe or whatever business that is, I would say start learning more about what you would like to accomplish one day. So by doing OJT, online classes, doing it that way, you get closer to your achieving your dream. So and of course, in anything, um, you gotta have faith in yourself, and if you're religious, like faith in God, because um, you need you need that guidance, in your life,
Correct.
when things um, are not um, good. There are so many, challenges your way, and like you can't just do it all by yourself.
Correct.
Also, you need to have a really good team,
Mm-hmm.
because it's also to have a good team in your business. You
Mm-hmm.
need that. Um, so you need to be able to manage your team well.
Nice. That's great. That's great. Thank you for
Yeah,
sharing that one.
what a
So,
wonderful
yeah,
journey.
just a quick follow up with that one, or like let's say before we end, I guess. So now I'm curious because since like with the type of business that you have, which is like a brick and mortar, right? All of us across the board has experienced COVID, right? So how did you cope up with the COVID back then? How long? What was the process like for you? Because everybody has been shut down, right? Then
Yes.
what on your end? What did you do? What for sure? I know as a business owner, you have to think of something alternative solutions in terms of like keep the business going as possible as you can. What was it like? How did you cope up with the COVID for your business?
Yeah. So it was really ironic. We signed the lease of the second space, and then 2 months later, COVID hit.
Mm,
So we iced our second location for 9 months while paying rent. So we only had our first branch, and we decided that we had to act very quickly. So we decided to make our online system, um, improve that.
mm,
So that it will be easy for people to do takeaways, and then come up with desserts and meals that are easy to be part of our takeaway. So basically, we added more products in our website, and then we also introduced a loyalty program for especially for our local clients. So that really helped us um, feed, paying the rent in our second space,
correct.
when most of your local clients are in the loyalty program. And then we decided to hire a social media lady
Mm-hmm.
to help us as well,
Mm-hmm.
to make sure that we have really good content, and we'll be able to reach our target market, and be able to relay their strong message and strong marketing. So these are just a few of the strategies that we did. And of course, like I said, we introduced more um, Filipino-inspired dishes. In fact, in our second space, I came up with a Filipino-inspired high tea, so gluten-free. So I know that this is the very first Filipino gluten-free high tea, perhaps in
Yes,
the world.
that's
So
really
it's really quite unique, as well as Filipino gluten-free degustation, and then making that also the high tea available as a takeaway.
that's great. That's great to hear. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's inspiring. I mean, I must say that knowing from you that the strategy is like really, I guess what I learned as well during COVID is like you have to innovate. You have to make sure that how can you solve a problem instead of like dwelling on it. You try to solve a problem. You got to keep the ball rolling, and like you did, you're trying to find ways in terms of like serving the people, and you know that people like need to eat, right? So you solve the problem, which is really remarkable to hear from you. Wow, this is an interesting story from Reg, and right, Joy.
Yes, very inspiring story, Reg.
Yes.
And I wish one day I can visit your restaurant. I'm praying for that.
Australia.
So
Yes.
I'm excited to taste all your dishes.
Yeah, we're gonna
You
have
know that,
a no.
right?
We're gonna have like a full day
Yes,
of
of
dessert.
course.
Yeah, get a full course.
Mm-hmm.
Sabihin
Yes.
niya. Okay. Wow. Now this is really good, Reg. Thank you very much. So maybe you can share to our viewers where can they follow you. Maybe you can share to them about your website, your social media handles. That way, if they're interested or they're nearby your location, they can check you out.
Yes, okay. So please follow us, Dovetail Social. That's our Instagram handle, Dovetail Social.
Okay.
And also on our Facebook pages, you could follow us at Dovetail Social. And our website is dovetailsocial.com.au. And I hope that when borders are open and you happen to be traveling here in Australia and in Brisbane, and I hope to see you when you are here. And please mention that if you did watch this segment,
Yes. Thank you.
please
Thank you.
please introduce yourself, and I would love to meet you, and you know yeah, it will just be great to actually um, meet you in person.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Alrighty.
you,
So,
Reg.
yeah, thank you, Reg. Any parting words before we end, Reg?
Um, I think that I've said this in my speech when I received my award, that I truly believe that my purpose in life is, to provide gluten-free version of dishes, so that other families will also enjoy. So I think that my family having celiac disease has become my life's purpose, so that I can also share that to other families, that joy of being able to eat um, something safely again, and and you know taste as good and as delicious as the regular version of that dish. and I don't think I could have done it without um, just the amazing favor and guidance um, by God, and of course my family's support and my team. So thank you all so much, and thank you, Francis and Joy, for having me. It's a pleasure, and thank you.
Thank you.
It's
Thank
our
you.
honor, Reg. Thank you
It's an
very much
honor.
for sharing your story with our viewers and listeners.
All right. Thank you, Reg, and for being a
Thank you,
great
Reg.
guest. Okay. So, in closing remarks, Joy. So, I would like to thank you both ladies for being esteemed guests on my show. Okay. So, like, again, guys, this is Francis San Diego. This is another remarkable and inspiring episode. Again, this is Francis San Diego, and I'm your unemployed Pinoy CEO. Thanks, guys.